my troubled soul, why so weighed down? You weren't meant to bear this heavy load, so cast all your burdens upon the Lord, 'cause Jesus cares, He cares for you. Jesus cares, He cares for you, and all your worrying won't help you make it through. So cast.
Morning. 3 people heard that. Welcome to worship this morning. If you want to stand with us, if you can.
Lift your head, weary sinner. The river's just ahead. Down the path of forgiveness, salvation's waiting there. You build a mighty fortress, 10,000 burdens high. Love is here to lift you up, here to lift you high. If you're lost and wandering, don't stumble in like a prodigal child. See the walls start crumbling, but the gates of glory open wide. All who strayed and walked away, unspeakable things you've done. Fix your eyes on the mountain, let the past be dead and gone. No more you saints and sinners, you cannot run God. Whatever you've done can overcome the power of the blood. If you're lost and wandering, don't stumble in like a prodigal child. See the walls start crumbling, let the gates of glory open wide. If you're lost and wrecked again, don't stumble in like a prodigal child. See the walls start crumbling, let the gates of glory open wide. If you're lost and wandering, come stumbling in like a prodigal child. See the walls start crumbling, let the gates of glory open wide. If you're lost and wrecked again, come stumbling in like a prodigal child. See the walls start crumbling, let the gates of glory open
Welcome to worship this morning. Is there any announcements? There are announcements. Katie knows them. I don't.
Back to School Sunday is coming up 2 weeks from now, August 31st. There is a sign-up sheet for bringing side dishes or desserts for the meal that we're going to share after the service. And after that, we will also pack all of the school kits. Please have any supplies that you are donating to the church by next Sunday. Yes.
There's also a sheet to sign up for how many people are coming, so we know how many people there were.
Yes. So put your total attendance as well on there. On that day as well, photographer. There's going to be a photographer here to take pictures for our website. So if you have children, please sign a photo release form, which is out on the table in the foyer, and turn that in to Megan. there's a small section in the back that if you don't want to be photographed, you can sit in. But Megan said, please don't sit there. And I think that's it. Is that it?
And the offering, yeah.
Bring your offering forward during this next song.
There's got to be more than going back and forth, from doing right to doing wrong. 'Cause we were taught that's who we are. Come on, get in line right behind me. You along with everybody, thinking there's worth in what you do. Then like a hero who takes the stage when we're on the edge of our seat, saying it's too late. Well, let me introduce you to Amazing Grace. No matter the bumps, no matter the bruises, no matter the scars, still the truth is the cross has made you flawless. No matter the hurt or how deep the wound is, no matter the pain, still the truth is the cross has made you flawless. Could it possibly be? We simply can't believe that this unconditional kind of love would be enough to take a filthy wretch like this and wrap him up in righteousness. That's exactly what he did. No matter the bumps, no matter the bruises, no matter the scars, still the truth is the cross has made you flawless. No matter the hurt or how deep the wound is, no matter the pain, still the truth is the cross has made you flawless. Take a breath and smile and say right here, right now, I'm okay because the cross was enough. And like a hero who takes the stage when we're on the edge of our seat, saying it's too late. Well, let me introduce you to grace, God's grace. No matter the bumps, no matter the bruises, no matter the scars, still the truth is the cross has made you flawless. Cross has made you flawless. No matter the hurt or how deep the wound is, no matter the pain, still the truth is the cross has made you flawless. No matter what they say or what you think you are, that day you called his name, he made you flawless. He made you flawless. No matter the bumps, no matter the bruises, no matter the scars, still the truth is the cross has made you flawless.
For you created my inmost being. You knit me together in my mother's womb. I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. My frame was not hidden from you when I was made in the secret place, when I was woven together in the depths of the earth. Your eyes saw my unformed body. All the days ordained for me were written in your book before one of them came to be.
brothers and sisters, in view of God's mercy, to offer your bodies as a living sacrifice, holy and pleasing to God. This is your true and proper worship. Do not conform to the pattern of this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your mind. Then you will be able to test and approve what God's will is, his good, pleasing, and perfect will.
control. Consume me from the inside out, Lord. Let justice and grace become my embrace, to love you from the inside out. Everlasting, your light will shine when all else fades. Never ending, your glory goes beyond all fame. And the cry of my heart is to bring you praise from the inside out, Lord. My soul cries out, everlasting, your light will shine when all else fades. Never ending, your glory goes beyond all fame. And the cry of my heart is to bring you praise from the inside out, Lord. My soul cries out from the inside out, Lord. My soul cries out.
Well, Al is not here today, so I get to be the one asking the questions and interviewing. But before I do that, I wanted to give a little bit of a reminder and explanation of what we're doing here. If you were not here this Sunday that we went through the Connect with God types, there is a link on the Facebook community page, not the website. We don't have it on the website, but it is on the Facebook community page. It's just a series of YouTube videos that explains the different Connect with God types. They're really just testimonies and encouragement. And that's also kind of our goal with doing interviews here is to we want to hear from you guys. And the personal testimony is so important. And I think that's kind of been like the prayer team's goal with this is we want to build every individual's faith because the individual makes up the group, right? So it's not just that we want a strong group, we want strong individual faith. So that is our goal with this. I encourage you to listen to those. Once you go through them and some connect with you, we are inviting you to put your name under the top 3. And I think most people actually put a number beside their name, maybe not everyone. That gives us an idea. I'm really enjoying seeing which one seems to be the top. And I'll tell you, creation seems to be the top one so far, going by the amount of names up there. So I don't know, maybe that gives us some ideas for future services. I don't know, we'll see. But I do have Laura here today. Now let me get my questions out. Okay, so tell us, what have you found of the Connect with God types? What are your top 1 to 2 types that seem to work best for you?
I would say adoration and conversation. And as we were singing that last song, I was just thinking about how those two really go together a lot for me. Because adoration for me is conversation with God. A lot of times the lyrics are the words, and that's how I'll feel God speaking to me. So it's just, yeah, that they're very interwoven. And so
I am curious, because I think you're the first one we've had that had conversation. What does conversation look like for you?
So when I was in high school, I don't know what triggered it. I just I think I had heard someone talk about talking to God and praying always. And so I wanted to kind of see what that would be like for me and try to, because I process everything in my head. It's like a constant conversation going on there anyways. I'm like, what if I turn that to God and talk to him about it instead of just letting it spiral in my head? If I give this to him and talk to him about all the things that are going on in there and just completely, because he knows it anyways, if I just completely open that up and have that as a conversation with him, then, I mean, and so it's like as I'm talking to him and learning how to have those conversations and not, not just think it's just about me. It started becoming more about him and me and doing things together, but also hearing back from him as I would, sing songs or reading the Bible and just hearing verses come up when I get into a certain situation, or just a random verse from a song. Just felt like God is speaking back to me.
Are there things that you would suggest to someone who finds like adoration or conversation, either one? Are there certain suggestions you would have for anyone wanting to, even if it's not their top 3, but wanting to practice that?
The biggest thing I always think of is open hands. Just coming to God with open hands. Like, he already knows what's going on. So if we're willing to come and, I mean, if you're coming to someone and like, I'm so sure of this is my opinion or whatever, then I feel like I'm getting talked at and not talked with. And so I want to be like that with God. I want to talk with God and not talk at him and say, this is what I want, this is what I need, this is what I believe. But be willing to hear what he's saying in that, and just being willing to listen.
And do you have any specific verses? 'Cause I know you do.
I do. So my life verse has always been 1 Peter 5:7, to cast all your cares on the Lord, for he cares for you. And sometimes that translation is anxiety or fears, whatever it is. God cares about it, so why shouldn't we talk to him about it? Like, everything is important to him because it's part of our lives. It's part of that relationship with him. And then another verse, 1 Thessalonians 5:16-18. Rejoice always, pray without ceasing, give thanks in all circumstances, for this is the will of God in Christ Jesus for you. So adoration is that rejoicing, and then praying without ceasing, for me, has become that conversation, just bringing it to him before I forget about it, because I can squirrel moment all the time, but if I pray about it when I'm thinking about it, then I'm not going to forget about it.
Mm-hmm.
And
So
also giving thanks is part of the worship too.
I think your testimony, what I'm hearing here, you've already, it's just to recap, you've already built in the daily connection, right? Like this idea of having a daily connect with God seems to, you've built this into your life from teenager on. So thank you for sharing.
Am I on? Yeah, there we go. So just being aware of your body is so significant because our bodies are connected to our spirits. Sometimes we talk negatively about the body in the church, but it is one of the gifts we have been given by God. So just being aware of that. I'd like us to have prayer together this morning. Lord, we want to join with David in Psalm 51 to ask that you will create a new spirit in us, renew our spirit. And so we're asking that you come this morning as we look at your words, as we work at things that sometimes the week is overwhelmed. Sometimes it's just been too much on our plate. Sometimes it just feels like we're just tired. The humidity has been particularly high this year. That has been kind of draining. The stressors of life all around us have been intense, and so we come and we give that to you and just ask that you will give us a fresh breath of your Spirit in our lives so that we have the capacity to walk in newness of life, to have a little bounce in our step as we represent you. Thank you for your constant presence in our lives, and help us to be able to hear your voice. In Jesus' name, amen. This morning, I feel like I almost have to justify why I'm doing a sermon on personalities. And I'll tell you why. I think that sometimes people say, well, that's not particularly spiritual. And I would really differ with that, because of all the things we're given, this one, everybody is given. The spiritual gifts could be different, your abilities could be different, but we all have our personality. Some of us, our personalities are a little bigger than others, but we all have a personality, and they show up quick. We've got 2 grandsons that are now under 6 months, and you're already beginning to see a little bit of personality, a little bit of how they're going to express themselves and what gives them energy. And in that Psalms passage we read this morning, it says, "For you were created my inmost being, you knit me together in my mother's womb. And I praise you that I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful, I know that full well." While we were still inside of our moms, there was something going on in a development, and as you listen to women talk about their pregnancies, a lot of times they're able to pick up a little bit on the energy level and the expression and the patterns of the one that's within them. And I want to suggest that managing your personality is probably the first thing, and it's going to be an ongoing challenge for you in your discipleship journey. If you don't manage it, your personality, it's going to mess up your spiritual gifts. It's going to diminish your abilities. It doesn't matter how good your testimony is. If your personality is not under the lordship of Jesus Christ, you can really undercut everything. And so I want to give you some explanation about a little bit about how, and then we've got more than enough tools to work with. When I don't know if I've shared this before. When I went to Heston College for the first 2 years of college, I thought to myself, I've always wanted to be a quiet person. It's called self-denial. And so I went to Heston, and I decided nobody knows me. I could be a quiet person. And I always thought quiet people, you kind of like to hear what they have to say because they're not talking all the time, and always been profusely talkative. And so I thought, I'm going to try this out. I lasted about 24 hours. Thought it was going to blow up. It wasn't happening. But I just thought, wow, wouldn't it be great to be somebody different? And so I learned pretty quick, it's just not there. In our personality, our sark, our flesh, who we are, can get expressed really quick if we don't come to Jesus and say, help me out here. Help me to rein this thing in. The flesh is Romans 7:18. I think it's up there. For I know that the good itself does not dwell in me, that is my sinful nature. For I have desires to do what is good, but I cannot carry it out. That somehow our flesh just somehow, all those cravings and desires, until we bring that under Jesus' lordship, say I'm going to live and act like you, it will spring out of there. Another passage in Galatians, I think I put it up there, didn't I? The acts of the flesh are obvious: sexual immorality, impurity, debauchery, idolatry, witchcraft, hatred, discourse, jealousy, fits of rage, selfish ambition, dissension, fractions, and envy. One more. Drunkenness, orgies, and the likes. I like how he put that, just and the likes. I warn you, as I did before, that those who live like this will not inherit the kingdom of God. And so it's really so important that how that stuff all gets expressed happens from personality. Some of us are more secretive, some of us are just right out there. But again, if we got to manage the flesh, it shows up through our personality. One more verse. Well, it's not just bad behavior, these behaviors, but it's about a self-reliance, a self-protection, a self-promoting instead of dependence on God. And so it's really about how can I use my personality to bring glory to God? How can I talk to people about being reconciled to God as opposed to promote who I am or protect myself, push people back? Because we can all do that with our personalities, either by verbally pushing people back or shutting them out. And so all these things are so important. Is there another verse? No? Okay. I'm going to work with tools this morning, but it is so important for us to figure out who our true identity is. When it comes to personality, you are functioning out of it, whether you're aware of it or not. And I don't care if you take an inventory or not. I just need you to become aware of who you are, because everybody else is aware of who you are. And if you're not aware of it, your weaknesses will become overwhelming. And your strengths, because your weaknesses are so strong, won't be allowed to show up. And so I want to kind of illustrate that. When Pam and myself first got married, we had tension because the way my cup got filled, when I would be working and I would get tired, I would look at her and say, "Let's have somebody over." That was my outgoing personality. That's how my emotional cup would get filled. Her emotional cup gets filled by just the two of us hanging out. And so her response was, "Why don't we just stay home together?" I thought somehow Pam was defective. Somehow, if she was just godly and spiritual like me, she'd want to be with people all the time. Well, no, that was our personality, and we had to get the hang of that one, because you can begin to spiritualize these things that, well, mine's a better way, it's more godly than the other. No, it's not. It's just how you are wired, where your energy gets replenished from. For shyer, more reflective people, energy gets from personal space. For those of us who are more outgoing, like Caleb, our energy gets filled by being with people. We say, let's have a group over. The challenge gets, and I'm thinking a lot about you with parents with younger kids, is how do you coach them, even as they're little, to not let their personalities overwhelm? Sometimes I've seen young families think their kid is so cute, and they don't quite teach them how to rein it in. And I think to myself, you got to teach us extroverts when we're little, because we're extroverts then too, how to not be obnoxious. I don't know that my folks really pulled that in very well. They just kind of let me be obnoxious. And I think it'd have been better if they had kind of brought the hammer down a little bit, because you will get taught that. The people around you will teach you that. But it's an ongoing learning curve. It's about if you're outgoing, your tendencies are to just want to express, and it can become too much. Again, having a complete opposite personality at home has been one of the greatest gifts God ever gave me, because we really are opposites. And so I'll explain how that looks in our world so that it works better. We've talked about spiritual gifts. Those are those gifts that are supernaturally charged, given by the Spirit to us. We have different ones, and they're for the benefit of the church. We've talked about being part of the body of Christ and having talents and abilities last week, and those are so significant we learned, but we've got to learn how the personalities, because it's personalities that almost always rub us wrong. You have those individuals that you just think, they're driving me nuts. And it's almost always personality traits. Usually their weak part of their personality traits. So let me kind of, if you choose to do the inventory, I'm not telling you to do this because this will tell you exactly who you are. Inventories are a tool. They can be helpful or not helpful, but it's important for you as a follower of Jesus Christ to know your strengths and your weaknesses, and particularly when it comes to how the personality God has given you, because your weaknesses, if they're allowed to go, can become a little much. So it's awarenesses and it's growth areas, and it's so important. When it comes to marriage, this is really where it shows up in all kinds of ways. It could show up in how you manage money. It could show up in what kind of interactions and how many people you want to have over. I remember one couple in one place I pastored, they were both introverts. It was hard to get them to do anything with anybody because there wasn't one person that really wanted to spend a lot of time with other folks, so they just kept their world pretty tight. And then if you get people who are all extroverts, they have a tendency to always be going, and then they get wore out, and then they get discouraged, and then they get kind of grumpy. And so you got to kind of figure out how this works. Let me give you examples. Go to the next slide. I think I put up sanguines. These are words that come from Aristotle, I believe. Sanguine is flowing water. These are water words. It's flowing water. It's kind of bubbly, energetic, and fun. This is what you want if you go canoeing and stuff. You don't want it going fast. You just want some movement. A sanguine and a personality, which is my number one, is somebody who's bubbly and energetic and loves people. Their number one goal in life starts with an F, fun. Absolutely. It's about enjoying life. That's kind of, and so I have to watch myself, since that's the number one thing that drives me is having fun, that isn't all I want to do at church too. You'll see me joking around and teasing, but I always have to remember the gospel is serious stuff. We're talking about people's salvation, so I can't just let that run wild. And so the strengths and weaknesses, though. Strength is, I love people. I live for people. I want to be with people. The downside is, I could be annoying. I know none of you have noticed that, but I can be over the top, over-expressive, talk too much. I can cut people off. I get so excited, and then I cut people off because I have something to say. You ever notice that with yourself there? You never noticed that, have you, Caleb? Yeah. Not with me or yourself, huh? Yeah. Again, there's a few of you sanguines in here, and how that works. The second one is Corlicks. Corlicks is powerful rivers. These are the people whose number one need is control. They love to be in charge. These are the whitewater rapids. They're going to cut through. They're our leaders. We got to have them. We just got to have them. Because the sanguines are having fun. This is my backup plan. If having fun isn't working, then let me be in charge. And you know what I found? When I'm in charge, we have more fun. And so it really works for me. Now, the challenge I've had to learn in ministry is sometimes I could just overwhelm. And I'm sure you guys have not noticed that. But there's just too much, because both of those are very outgoing, very people-oriented. And so you'll notice what's missing. And that is organizational and those kind of peacemaking skills. And so, I got to kind of work at some of that. Some of you in the back have similar personalities. So And so we got to be careful because those bring strength. We need leaders. We need people who are just, we're going to go, we're going to go, we're going to go. And on the other side comes the next personalities, the melancholy. That's when you're sitting out on a boat and just a nice little breeze. It's just so peaceful and orderly because their number one thing in life are stick-em notes. I mean order, right? They like order. Now we're into Pam's domain. She loves stick-em notes. She loves to get organized. And I'm glad she's organized. That's what's kept our finances in good shape. It's what keeps our house orderly. It's just her design to like to see things orderly. We need that in church. We need it in our personal lives. You need people. You know, I got in more trouble in ministry from not being organized over the years. You guys are getting the good part of Steve at 66 because I've gotten in so much trouble everywhere else. I was a pastor because I was disorganized that I've had to learn organizational skills because you can't follow somebody who's disorganized, right? It's, you know, you don't have a clue where they're going next. You don't know what to expect out of them. For those of you who are organized, you bring a huge gift. Because the number one need of melancholy is just some order. Let's bring design and structure and things to this. The last one, it's called phlegmatics. It's peaceful. It's just peaceful. You know, just kind of looking over water and you just find yourself going, feels good. Just feels good. And these are the people whose number one goal in life is peace. The upside is they are the ones who help to calm the atmosphere at home. They're able to sort through conflicts well. They don't get rattled. They're able to bring it down. Now, the downside of this is they have a tendency to be a little procrastinative. Every personality trait has ups and downsides. The reason you need to know it is if you don't manage your personality, you will tend to go to the negative. Sanguines talk too much. They cut people off. I'm going to go ahead and tell our family secret. If you ever see Pam's hand underneath the table and I'm talking too much, she'll just lightly squeeze my knee. I know what that means. It's like, shut her down, buddy. Yeah, thank you. It means you're just talking too much. You've taken over the conversation. You're not listening. Become aware of yourself. You got me all excited now. Do you squeeze his knee? You got to find ways to help each other out. Because I recognize that. With the Corlick side, I could take charge, but sometimes there are people that have other ideas. So Corlick has to be careful to listen. What are others saying? Maybe the idea that I've got is good, but maybe it's not best. It could get a lot better if I listen to what others are saying. Melancholies have a tendency, if they're very internal. We got a lot of melancholies in this congregation, very artistic. Usually high IQ. They're usually the people in our world who have written music, who do art, who are just your organized, creative group. The downside is, because they're so reflective, they can get depressed, can get really overwhelmed and discouraged. And with every one of these, you have a little of two of them. There's an inventory out in the foyer. I think I have a copy of it. It's called Personality Plus. If you want to take a look at those, they're free out there. Take them. It's got everything you need. You fill out, pick 4 words, the one that fits best. And once you're done with it, you could do it with a group. You could take your whole family and let them sit there and help you think through who you are. It's not something you got to do in secret. And then you'll transfer it over here and it will kind of tell you strengths and weaknesses. The phlegmatic, again, great strengths. And again, Jimmy Carter was a phlegmatic. Gerald Ford was a phlegmatic. So a lot of times the leaders come from the Corlicks or the phlegmatics. Gerald Ford came as a president right after President Nixon had done his stuff. The nation needed just somebody that didn't have a lot of agenda pushing a lot of stuff. The nation needed somebody that was calm. Gerald Ford didn't have a lot of agenda. He didn't come in saying, got to do this, got to do that. He just came in and was just a chilled out dude. And that's what the nation needed at that point in time. So there's different seasons in life where you need different gifts to step forward. Darlene? Now, what I've learned in life, in this congregation in particular, you like choice. People love choice. And so I've given another option for personality types. It's called Enneagram. Now, I think you have had a good experience with that, right?
Yes, but so is Philip.
Yes, yeah, but he got a break today. So,
Oh, okay. I was like,
and I think Caleb has had a good experience with it also.
yes.
So,
I have had
so,
it.
so tell us why that has been good for you.
Well, to explain why it's been good, I really have to explain how the Enneagram works. Can I
Okay.
do that? So it is a little different than a lot of the personality tests out there. I was first introduced to it about maybe 5 or 6 years ago when it kind of first hit the scene by my sister-in-law, who is totally into all things personality related. And I did not know anything about it when I first took the test. And I actually had to call and ask my mom questions because they stumped me. Like, it was not...
It's a little more complex.
It is, so I'm getting to that.
Okay.
A lot of the personality tests out there are kind of pop psychology, right? They're just
Right.
fun.
Right.
But they're not accurate, okay?
So she just destroyed my whole first part of my sermon.
No, I said a lot of them. I didn't say all of them. A lot of the ones on the internet that
Oh.
are like the fun little
Nice
cutesy,
recovery. Yeah, that's okay.
like-
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Okay.
My sanguine's coming out.
I'm not a sanguine, Steve. Let me be serious. I like to be serious. So Enneagram is a little bit more serious. If you take the test, I do recommend having someone help you answer some of the questions because I was flat out stumped. But the reason it was more serious is it doesn't look at your behavior. It looks at the why you have the behavior. And there's 9 different results, and each result has a core fear and it has a core virtue. That's probably the biggest difference between this particular personality type to, I've looked at a lot of the others, okay? I could talk all day about
Right.
personality types. That is the biggest difference. When I got my results back, I was so mad I sulked for an entire week and did not tell anyone my results. They were very accurate, okay? I'm not I can own this, I can admit this. And then I talked to my sister-in-law, and she helped me process through it, and I said, oh, well, that just explains the last 10 years of my life and why I ended up where I was at. So it can be very accurate. If you're not ready for if you're not ready for that, maybe don't take the test. It was good. Once I got past how accurately it described me, I took it. I took the benefit from it. I started working on the growth steps. This is where I'm going to support everything you just said. Because a lot of times if you take a personality test, you use it to justify bad behavior. This is the core warning of all this, right?
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
going to support everything you said. As a Christian, though, I want to be more like Jesus, and I want to have sanctification in my life. That means I need to be open to feedback that says, that's an area you need to work on. So taking this test provided me like this huge list of things that very clearly were not working in my life. One of which was facing conflict. Because I love peace. I don't love drama. I want peace. But because I want peace, I ended up just avoiding hard things. And that actually made worse problems.
Yes.
So I've done a lot of really hard work in the last 5 to 6 years to face conflict to where now I'm not even sure A lot of times people don't believe me when I say what my Enneagram type is because I don't look like it because I've done that hard work. So
Yes, good.
If you have more questions, ask me. It is a tool. It is not the end all of all things. It
Correct.
is just a tool.
Thank you for that. Again, the thing to keep in mind is all we're giving you is tools. We're not telling you this is who you are. We're giving you a tool that can help you look at yourself so that you can rein in particularly some of the weaknesses and learn what are the things driving you. I don't totally get the Enneagram, but talking to Caleb and Philip and Darlene, who seem to really understand it, they seem to know how to explain some of this. What do you got, Philip? He's excited to be up here, so.
Not at all. Not at all. I just want to do another thing about the Enneagram is that your personality changes when you are under stress and when you are doing well. And so that's one of the big revealers about my personality for me in Enneagram was when I'm under stress, I start acting a certain way that's different from when I'm in a healthy place. And so, that's another thing that I wanted to make sure was out there. It's just like when everything's going great, you can behave in a certain way, and then when you're under stress, when things aren't going well, now you're going to a different place. And so it's like,
Yeah, and that's a good reminder, Philip, because that's true of the stuff I was just sharing with you on the Personality Plus stuff. Stress changes everything. Pressure changes everything. We always have, I have said this to many couples, if you have not seen the other person angry or in pressure, don't marry them. You need to see what they're like when they're mad or when they're under stress, because that's a different person. And pressure and stress and that shifts stuff, because that is where sanctification, learning to bring it under the lordship of Jesus Christ, because on this inventory, the weaknesses really, in this one, show up when you're under pressure. You're right. It's a nice way to remind people. Just be aware of that. And what it does is it says, okay, I'm feeling a lot of stress in my life right now. Odds are, as I parent my children, I'm going to be, there's certain patterns that will show up according to your personality type. If you're sanguine, again, your strength is being jolly, but when you're under pressure as a sanguine, you tend to talk too much. You could get hypercritical verbally, and then that you can leave your kids bruised up. Colics can get kind of a depressed thing going on. Melancholy can get depressed and see only the negative and not the positive. So with parenting, it's so important to just recognize. Let me give you a couple examples of how this plays in biblical. You ever thought about Peter? Now, Peter was a great guy, absolutely great guy. He was put in charge of the first church as its leader. That makes him a colic, because he was a strong personality. He was also a guy who was a sanguine. He loved people. And then we see the negative side of him, like he's, the transfiguration, he's saying nonsense. Oh, I think we should build some buildings here. Oh, wouldn't that be great? Instead of just sitting there and saying this moment is beyond belief, we're experiencing Jesus, he had to talk. And then he immediately wanted to move into some kind of action. Paul, he's kind of known for running over people at times. But what did we need when the church was getting started? We needed a dynamic leader who would give us clear instructions on how to get organized, how to function, what right and wrong doctrine. He was a colic. He was, I don't know what he would be in the Enneagram, but he was a take-charge leader. We had to have that. We couldn't have done with anything less than who he was. David, the great poet, musician, wrote so many prayers, which tells us a great deal that he's probably melancholy. probably backed up with the Korlik because he became one of the great leaders of Israel. He was a combination of organized and artistic and expressive and emotional. Our personalities show up in the Bible. We can see them through the people who we hold up in high esteem. Even Jesus had a personality. The thing that sets Jesus apart was he was the best of all of them. Jesus was always under full control. He went to the positive side. When they needed leadership, he was a leader. When they needed tender guidance, he gave that guy. When they needed compassion, somebody comes and she's caught, a woman's caught in adultery. Instead of shaming her and being ugly, he was tender with her, yet direct. He was amazing. That's what sets him apart. He was courageous, saying who he was, yet at the same time he wasn't arrogant. He was patient with people around him, but he challenged the disciples. He was always patient with them, but he pushed them to be a little stronger, be a little more. That's what we're looking for in our own lives, is how can we grow into his likeness. As parents, I was doing a little research on parenting, because I think a lot of young families, you got little people, they're still determining what I remember. Colin, he's not here to defend himself, our youngest, his personality is like his mom, completely different than me. And so naturally we get to teen years, and he was trying to correct me, which was easy to find something to correct. But I remember one point saying, I might be wrong. I could be wrong. Just let me be wrong. He's organized. He could see that he works life structurally. And so Dad was pretty easy to find his weaknesses. But I would get really frustrated with him, as opposed to saying, well, that's how he's wired. He's going to grow into an amazing, organized individual who's a gift. I didn't see that when he was a teenager. I just saw him picking at me, which talks about my insecurities and what's going on inside of me. So as your parent, the key is see your kids' personality, even when they're different from you, as a gift that you have to guide. It's not something to correct. Am I following? You're following me? Your kid is not something to fix. It's an individual to guide. Your partner is not somebody to fix. They also, to bless them in their strengths, because that was a gift to you when they came into your life. They came with a set of gifts in their personality that are a real gift to you. You can't avoid having a personality. You're going to have one. You're trying to maximize the best of who you are and minimize the stuff that, if you're not good at certain things, then surround yourself with people that are good at that. That's the great thing about friends and partners and children, and in a church. We don't all have to be the same. We need the complete variety. I'm hoping that's helpful for you. There's lots of tools again on the website. The Enneagram, there's a link, and it's a free Enneagram you can take and look at it. Just take it for fun. Or you can pick up one of the Personality Plus things back here. I've had those for years. And so feel free to use those. It explains all of it, but if you want more explanation once you do it, let me know. I think it probably worked best for teenagers and older. I doubt if it will work quite as well for children. What I'm hoping will happen by the time we're done is that you will go, and on the bottom of our website, there's a place where you can fill out who you are, what these expressions of who you are and how God has made you, and you'll fill them out and then allow those of us in church leadership to see them, because that helps to make sure we get you in the right place so that we can kind of see those. Thank you for sending yours. Carl sent me a copy of, he did one of the inventories, and he sent me the outcome of that. He just took a snapshot, and that was helpful. So if you're willing to do that, I won't hold it against you, but it may keep me from doing things that are trying to ask you to do things that are not a good fit for who you are. And so it's not that I won't push you, but I may not push you quite as hard as certain ways. Next week, we're talking about experiences. I've always heard it said, experience is the best teacher. I would add, only if you learn the right lesson from it. There's a lot of people have had experiences, but they've not learned what I think God wanted them to learn from that, and that gets real ugly real quick. Let me pray for you. Mighty Lord, we are grateful that you have known us, and we are fearfully and wonderfully made. This isn't accidental. We don't have these personality traits just to be strange and different from each other. They're not flaws. But because of our sin nature, they can gravitate towards weakness. And so we have to look at what comes natural to us and say, okay, that's natural, but is it helpful? And we have to understand who we are. We have to dig and look at ourselves so that our testimony can be clear and doesn't get undercut because we talk too much, or maybe we're too pushy, or we're too timid to say anything, or we're just getting depressed all the time because life isn't perfect and orderly. We have these patterns, but we want to go into the strengths. And so we ask that you help us to be the overcomers that you said we are. That we are more than overcomers, that we can go into the best of how you've made us. And so we thank you for all these tools we have in this generation to use, and help us not to feel beat down, but to feel freed up, so that we can be the best of who you've made us to be. Thank you for your love, Jesus, for your guidance. Amen.
Please stand with us again as we go out.
There's got to be more than going back and forth, from doing right to doing wrong, 'cause we were taught that's who we are. Come on, get in line right behind me. You along with everybody, thinking there's worth in what you do. They're not gonna hero who takes the stage when we're on the edge of our seat, saying it's too late. Let me introduce you to amazing grace. No matter the bumps, no matter the bruises, no matter the scars, still the truth is the cross has made, the cross has made you flawless. No matter the hurt or how deep the wound is, no matter the pain, still the truth is the cross has made, the cross has made you flawless. Could it possibly be that we simply can't believe that this unconditional kind of love would be enough to take a filthy wretch like this and wrap him up in righteousness? But that's exactly what he did. No matter the bumps, no matter the bruises, no matter the scars, still the truth is the when